Morning people, welcome back to F Politics. I'm showing you my face now so that you know not to scroll when you see the faces I'm about to show you, because you know who these people are, you know what they've done in the past and what they're all about, and this debate is over. The debate about whether or not violence is coming from the left or the right, it's done now.
And then you see how much violence there's on the left, with our friend Charlie Kirk getting murdered in cold blood this week, and people on the left celebrating it openly. The left is the party of murder. That's who we're dealing with here.
I'm gonna stop you right there. You're saying the left is the party of murder. One guy killed somebody. One guy killed Charlie Kirk. And the left isn't a party, it's an idea which is based on the principles of equality, an idea that is shared by the majority of people in the UK. Because in every single election since World War II, apart from 3, the majority of British voters have voted for parties that are, broadly speaking, to the left of the Conservatives. So on stage, in front of 100,000 people in the centre of London, outside the Houses of Parliament, Elon Musk, introduced by Tommy Robinson, just called the majority of the British population murderers. But then he speaks to British citizens in general.
My message is to them: whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die.
Today, Elon, I think the British public are telling the world that they're ready to fight back.
Good. Yes.
Come on, Great Britain.
Now, most of you already understand what you just heard, but for those of you who don't, let me break it down. Everybody, including the very worst people in history, believed that they were the good guys of the story, that any violence they had to commit was somehow an act of self-defense against a scourge of a group of people who were coming after them. Pick your minority: Jewish people, black people, Palestinians. And here we have Elon Musk and Tommy Robinson telling a crowd of 100,000 people that the entirety of the left are murderers and that their violence is coming to them, that they have to act in self-defense, otherwise they will die. So the far right of the UK, and for some reason South Africa, just effectively called for violence against anybody who questions far-right ideology. And just so we're clear on the left versus right violence thing, I'm going to use the Metropolitan Police's own statement. The Metropolitan Police, who have been found to be institutionally racist, sexist, and homophobic, even them, this is how they describe what happened when they had to police both the right-wing lot, the Unite the Kingdom protesters, and the left-wing lot, the Stand Up to Racism protesters. At 1:09, the Unite the Kingdom protesters start marching towards Whitehall. There have been no incidents of note so far. At 1:33, the Stand Up to Racism protesters set off. There have been no incidents of note so far. At 3:02, the Unite the Kingdom protesters, the right-wing lot, attempted to enter an area that was designed to keep the two groups separate. And it says the Unite the Kingdom lot attacked the officers with projectiles. At 3:40, a number of officers have been assaulted trying to stop the Unite the Kingdom protesters from entering the sterile area. At 4:29, we continue to see significant aggression directed at our officers by the Unite the Kingdom protesters. And there's an update at 10:05, when protesters tried to leave the area that they were supposed to be in. When officers tried to move in to stop them, they were assaulted with kicks and punches, bottles, flares, and other projectiles were thrown. Again, that's the right-wing lot. 9 arrests have been made so far, but many more people have been identified as committing offences. We will find them in due course. Now there's some mention of the Stand Up to Racism people. Officers have cleared the group of Unite the Kingdom protesters who had blocked the north entrance, creating a safe route for the Stand Up to Racism protesters to leave Whitehall. And this was their final statement. There is no doubt that many came to exercise their lawful right to protest, but there were many who came intent on violence. They confronted others, engaging in physical and verbal abuse and making a determined effort to breach cordons in place to protect everyone. 26 officers were injured, including 4 seriously, among them broken teeth, a possible broken nose, a concussion, a prolapsed disc, and a head injury. And this is a police force that has been found to be institutionally bigoted, but the thing is, self-preservation trumps that. If they're being physically attacked by far-right thugs, meanwhile it's the left that they're having to keep safe from the attacks of the right, then they can't hide the fact that it's the right who are causing problems. So let's deal with some of the arguments that you're going to hear over the coming days, weeks, and months. You're going to hear people saying, but there's been violence and extremists at the Palestine rallies. And yes, you're right, you can't control everybody who shows up to a protest, especially when you're dealing with numbers in the tens of thousands. And so you have to look at what was the protest about? What was the reason people were showing up? Was it to stop violence or to start violence? The Palestine marches were specifically about ceasefire now, whereas the Unite the Kingdom rally had Elon Musk telling everybody to fight the left because they're all murderers. And nobody who's been marching for Palestine has been showing up because they wanted to listen to an extremist. But Tommy Robinson was the organizer of this event. You know, this guy.
You could think this is a British community, or you might have British Muslims. They are enemy combatants in these houses. In these houses are enemy combatants who want to kill you, maim you, and destroy you.
And you might see a narrative that there were black and brown people at these rallies. Hell, Sky News even tried that one.
I spent an hour or two amongst them, and my own impression was that they were mostly the sort of people you'd meet in a country pub or in half-time queue for the loo at football or at a concert. There was a sprinkling of black and brown faces.
Let me answer that in a way that I haven't done before. I love dogs, and dogs love me. But if you ever asked me to live in a society where I'd be in equal competition with dogs to get a job, to get on the property ladder, I'd tell you to walk into the sea. And right now we live in a society where it is 80% harder for somebody with a black sounding name to get a job. We live in a society where if you have a black sounding name and you're trying to apply to rent a place, you're 36% less likely to get a positive response from the landlord. Having black friends, being nice to black people, or even including black people within your movement, just because those specific black people are happy to not push for equality, doesn't mean you're not racist. Just like being loving towards a dog doesn't mean you see it as an equal. Another argument you might hear is, Femi, aren't you guilty of the same thing you're accusing the right of by painting them as violent and the left as these innocent victims? First off, I'm not saying the left is innocent. Anybody can commit violence in the name of their ideology, whether they're left-wing or right-wing. But my main point is, I don't have an issue with the right. Not really. I've worked with the right in the past. Back during the Brexit years, I was teaming up with conservatives who also recognized, wait, hang on, this far-right Brexit thing is going to ruin the country and ruin the lives of millions of people. So regardless of what kind of society we're trying to build, we all agree that we still need bricks, and so we can't allow this thing to happen. And so I worked with people like Conservative MP Anna Soubry, despite fundamentally disagreeing with her on a lot of things. In fact, I had to physically chaperone her when she was being harassed by the far right.
Move out the way, Lammy. You're a traitor.
Lammy. Did you just call me Lammy? I think he just called me David Lammy.
What's cultural appropriation?
So I can tolerate, hell, even protect people who are on the right. But what we're talking about here is the far right, people like Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson, because violence is baked into their agenda. Nigel Farage was just on stage with somebody who pled guilty to inciting racial hatred by calling for people to burn refugees alive. This isn't left versus right, this is everybody else versus the far right.
Keir Starmer needs to be assassinated, yeah? Someone needs to shoot Keir Starmer.
So as you're watching the news coverage about what just went down, think about how they're presenting it. Are they just calling it a conservative protest or a free speech rally? Because if they are, then they are clearly trying to make what is quite clearly an extremist group seem like a normal and acceptable part of politics. And so I want to remind you that there's no excuse for this. I have put myself in physical danger at these rallies before to prove one simple point, that these people do not care about working class people in the UK. This was me at a Tommy Robinson rally back in 2019, speaking to his right-hand man about the effects of Brexit.
It's not about the businesses, actually it's about what the people voted for. Democracy comes to what the people voted for, and then we'll work on the tariffs, we'll work on these things.
Exactly. So if the trade barriers come in, we'll be poor for a bit, but it's about sovereignty, it's about the principle.
Absolutely. In the long term, we've been through 2 world wars, we've always come out all right, and this is the next step.
So they do not care if they make the British people suffer. This is just about racism. And they are explicitly saying that they are willing to commit acts of violence to achieve it. I'm Femi. Make sure you follow F Politics so politics doesn't F you. Have a great week.